Alexis-Charles-Henri de Tocqueville was a French diplomat, political scientist, and historian. He was best known for his works Democracy in America and the Old Regime and the Revolution. In both he analyzed the improved living standards and social conditions of individuals, as well as the relationship to the market and state in Western societies. Democracy in America was published after Tocqueville's travels in the United States and is today considered an early work of sociology and political science. Tocqueville was active in French politics, first under the July monarchy and then during the Second Republic, which succeeded the February 1848 revolution. He retired from political life after Louis Napoleon Bonaparte's 2nd of December 1851 coup, and thereafter began work on the Old Regime and the Revolution. He argued the importance of the French Revolution was to continue the process of modernizing and centralizing the French state which had begun under King Louis XIV. The failure of the revolution came from the inexperience of the deputies who were too wedded to abstract Enlightenment ideals. Tocqueville was a classical liberal who advocated parliamentary government, but he was skeptical of the extremes of democracy. Like Alexis de Tocqueville came from an old Norman aristocratic family with ancestors who participated in the Battle of Hastings in 1066. His parents, Hervé Louis-François Jean Bonaventure Comte de Tocqueville, an officer of the Constitutional Guard of King Louis XVI, and Louise Madeleine Lepelletier de Rosenbeau, barely escaped the guillotine because of the fall of Robespierre in 1794. After an exile in England, they returned to France during the reign of Napoleon. Under the Bourbon Restoration, his father became a noble peer and prefect. Tocqueville attended the Lycée Faber in Metz. Tocqueville, who despised the July monarchy, began his political career in 1839. From 1839 to 1851, he served as deputy of the Manchete Department. In Parliament, he defended abolitionist views and upheld free trade, while supporting the colonization of Algeria carried on by Louis Philippe's regime. Tocqueville was also elected General Councillor of the Manchete in 1842, and became the president of the department's Conseil Général between 1849 and 1851. According to one account, Tocqueville's political position became untenable during this time in the sense that he was mistrusted by both the left and right, and was looking for an excuse to leave France. Travels. In 1831, he obtained from the July monarchy a mission to examine prisons and penitentiaries in America, and proceeded there with his lifelong friend Gustave de Beaumont. While Tocqueville did visit some prisons, he traveled widely in America and took extensive notes about his observations and reflections. He returned within 9 months and published a report, but the real result of his tour was De la Démocratie en Amérique, which appeared in 1835. Beaumont also wrote an account of their travels in Jacksonian America, Maria slavery in the United States. Apart from America, Tocqueville also made an observational tour of England, producing memoir on pauperism. In 1841 and 1846, he traveled to Algeria. His first travel inspired his Travail sur l'Algérie, in which he criticized the French model of colonization, which was based on an assimilationist view, preferring instead the British model of indirect rule, which avoided mixing different populations together. He went as far as openly advocating racial segregation between the European colonists and the Arabs through the implementation of 2 different legislative systems. In 1835, Tocqueville made a journey through Ireland. His observations provide one of the best pictures of how Ireland stood before the Great Famine. The observations chronicled the growing Catholic middle class and the appalling conditions in which most Catholic tenant farmers lived. Tocqueville made clear both his libertarian sympathies and his affinity for his Irish co-religionists. After the fall of the July monarchy during the February 1848 revolution, Tocqueville was elected a member of the Constituent Assembly of 1848, where he became a member of the commission charged with the drafting of the new constitution of the Second Republic. He defended bicameralism and the election of the President of the Republic by universal suffrage, as the countryside was thought to be more conservative than the laboring population of Paris. Universal suffrage was conceived as a means to counteract the revolutionary spirit of Paris. During the Second Republic, Tocqueville sided with the Parti de l'Ordre against the Socialists. A few days after the February insurrection, he believed that a violent clash between the Parisian workers' population led by socialists agitating in favor of a democratic and social republic, and the conservatives, which included the aristocracy and the rural population, was inescapable. As Tocqueville had foreseen, these social tensions eventually exploded during the June Days Uprising of 1848. Led by General Cavaignac, the repression was supported by Tocqueville, who advocated the regularization of the state of siege declared by Cavaignac, and other measures promoting suspension of the constitutional order. Between May and September, Tocqueville participated in the Constitutional Commission which wrote the new constitution. His proposals underlined the importance of his American experience, as his amendment about the president and his re-election. Minister of Foreign Affairs, a supporter of Cavaignac and of the Parti de l'Ordre, Tocqueville, however, accepted an invitation to enter Odilon Barrett's government as Minister of Foreign Affairs from the 3rd of June to the 31st of October 1849. There, during the troubled days of June 1849, he pleaded with Jules de Ferré, Interior Minister, for the re-establishment of the state of siege in the capital and approved the arrest of demonstrators. Tocqueville, who since February 1848 had supported laws restricting political freedoms, approved the two laws voted immediately after the June 1849 days, which restricted the liberty of clubs and freedom of the press. This active support in favor of laws restricting political freedoms stands in contrast to his defensive freedoms in democracy in America. According to Tocqueville, he favored order as the sine qua non for the conduct of serious politics. He to bring the kind of stability to French political life that would permit the steady growth of liberty unimpeded by the regular rumblings of the earthquakes of revolutionary change. Tocqueville had supported Cavaignac against Louis-Napoleon Bonaparte for the presidential election of 1848. Opposed to Louis-Napoleon's 2nd of December, 1851 coup which followed his election. Tocqueville was among the deputies who gathered at the 10th arrondissement of Paris in an attempt to resist the coup and have Napoleon III judged for high treason, as he had violated the constitutional limit on terms of office, detained at Vincennes and then released. Tocqueville, who supported the restoration of the Bourbons against Napoleon III's Second Empire, quit political life and retreated to his castle. Against this image of Tocqueville, biographer Joseph Epstein has concluded, Tocqueville could never bring himself to serve a man he considered a usurper and despot. He fought as best he could for the political liberty in which he so ardently believed, had given it in all 13 years of his life. He would spend the days remaining to him fighting the same fight, but conducting it now from libraries, archives, and his own desk. There, he began the draft of L'Ancien Régime et la Révolution, publishing the first tome in 1856, but leaving the second one unfinished. Death. A long-time sufferer from bouts of tuberculosis, Tocqueville would eventually succumb to the disease on the 16th of April 1859. He was buried in the Tocqueville Cemetery in Normandy. Tocqueville's professed religion was Roman Catholicism. He saw religion as being compatible with both equality and individualism, and felt that religion would be strongest when separated from politics.